Welcome to the class of cryptography and network security. Today I am going to discuss about message authentication. What is message authentication? And what is the need of the message authentication? So have a look at the message authentication first and what is the objective of the message authentication. So just have a look at the slides that I am going to discuss with you today. So what is message authentication? Why we use message authentication? What is the objective of the message authentication? What is the objective of message authentication? So that only authorized users will see the message that is being shared between two communicating parties. So this is the main objective of the authentication. So what is the objective of message authentication? So that only authorized user will see the message that is being shared between the two communicating parties. So what is basically authentication? What is message authentic mean to say authorized user who is going to access my data. So what is, there are various major concerns with message authentication. So first is protecting the integrity. Obviously we are studying about network security and cryptography fundamentals, and in network security and cryptography fundamental, as a name employee, we are going to study about various network cryptography techniques so that our data could be secured, our data could not be hacked, and there are various encryption techniques that we are going to apply according to our requirement, because some things require little privacy and some things are very confidential that are not supposed to be exposed to anyone who come in contact with that data. So there are various algorithms that are available according to the need of the data privacy and security. So similarly message authentication is also one of them. So what is message authentication? And our main focus about network security subject is to maintain the data integrity. So what is message authentication? What are its concerns? The first one is to protect the integrity of the message so that message could not be broken. Next is to validate the identity of the originator, who is the actual originator. Next is non repudiation of the origin, that is to dispute the resolution. Next is will consider the security requirements. What will be the security requirements that are required in order to protect the message between two parties? Next is the three alternative functions that are being used. First is to encrypt the message, then we can apply the MAC code. Then third is hash function or hashing technique that could be used to and secure the message in the end. So what are the security requirements? The security requirements are disclosure, traffic analysis, obviously, masquerade attack. Next is content modification, sequence modification. Next is timing modification. Next is source repudiation. Next is destination repudiation. So these are main terms that are concerned with the security requirement of the data. actually is message authentication? The question comes to my mind because in information security, message authentication, or I can say data origin authentication, it is the property that a message has not been modified while in transit. While in transit, a message has not been modified. Mean to say, if when it is performing transition from one place to another, then it could not be modified. It could be the actual data that is being sent over the network. So data integrity could be achieved. So what is data integrity here? Data integrity mean to say maintenance and the assurance of data accuracy and consistency over its entire life cycle, and it is a critical aspect to the design, implementation, and usage of any system that stores, process, or retrieves the data. So, and the receiving party can verify the source of the message. So message authentication does not necessarily include the property of non repudiation. So what is non repudiation? Actually, it refers to a situation where statements author cannot successfully dispute its authorship or the validity of an associated contract. So it is a legal setting when the authenticity of the signature is being challenged. That is, in such an instance, the authenticity is being repudiated. So, for example, if someone buys a cell phone for $100 rupees and writes a paper check as payment and signs the check with a pen, later she finds that she can't afford it and claims that the check is forgery. Claims that the check is forgery. So unfortunately, the signature guarantees that only that person could have signed the check, and so that person's bank must pay the check. So this is non-repudiation. Like the person cannot repudiate the check. In practice, pen and paper signatures are not hard to forge, but digital signatures can be very hard to break. So, what is the role of non-repudiation in security? That is, non-repudiation involves associating actions or changing changes with the unique individual. For example, a secure area may use a key card access system. So, what is a key card access system? That is a lock operated by the key card, where a non repudiation would be violated if the key cards were shared or if lost and stolen cards were not immediately reported. Similarly, the owner of the computer account must not allow others to use it, such as by giving away their password, and a policy should be implemented to enforce this. So message authentication is typically achieved by using MAC, that is message authentication code. So what is message authentication code? It is known as tag. That is a short piece of information used to authenticate a message to confirm that the message came from the stated sender and has not been changed. Next is authenticated encryption, that is AE. These are the forms of encryption which simultaneously assure the confidentiality and authenticity of the data or the digital signatures. Digital signature is a mathematical scheme for verifying the authenticity of the digital messages or documents. So the message authentication code, also known as digital authentication, it is used as an integrity check based on the secret key shared by the two parties to authenticate the information that is transmitted between them. So it is based on using a cryptographic hash or symmetric encryption algorithm. So the authentication key is only shared by exactly two parties, that is two communicating devices, and the authentication will fail in the existence of the third party possessing the key, since the algorithm will no longer be available to detect forgeries. That is to be able to validate the unique source of the message. So, in addition, key must also be randomly generated to avoid its recovery through brute force searches and related key attacks designed to identify it from the message transmitting the medium. So, next is some cryptographers distinguish between message authentication without secrecy system, that is which allow the intended receiver to verify the source of the message, but they don't bother hiding the plain text contents of the message. That is from the authenticated encryption system. So some cryptographers have researched subliminal channel system that send messages that appear to use a message authentication without secrecy system, but in fact also transmit a secret message. So data origin authentication and wrong repudiation have been also uh, taken into the account in order to understand about the cryptography. So next is message encryption. Message encryption by itself also provides a measure of authentication. That is, if symmetric encryption is used, then there are certain points that one must consider, that receiver knows sender must have created it. Since only sender and receiver now key used, next no content know that the content cannot be cannot it cannot be altered. If message has suitable structure, redundancy or a checksum to detect any changes could be there. So message encryption by itself can provide a measure of the authentication. That is, the ciphertext of the entire message serves as its authenticator. On the basis of that, only those who know the appropriate keys could have validly encrypted the message. So this is provided that you can recognize a valid message. That is, if the message has suitable structures such as redundancy or a checksum to detect any changes. So next is message authentication code. This is message authentication code. So I explain the same. This is source, this is destination, this is message authentication. Just wait. So what is message authentication code? So what is MAC? What is message authentication? It is used to authenticate a message. Authenticate mean to say to know the originator of the message. So to confirm that the message came from the stated sender and it has not been altered or changed. So it is the main reason is to maintain the data integrity as well as its authenticity. So how message authentication code can be achieved? How message authentication code can be achieved? So a key generation algorithm will be there that select a key from the key space, that is uniformly selecting the key randomly, and assigning algorithm efficiently returns a tag given the key and the message, and a verifying algorithm efficiently verifies the authenticity of the message. So there are three main steps that are concerned with this approach that is being shown with the help of the diagram. First is key generation, second is signing algorithm, third is verifying algorithm. So these are the three approaches. Again, I am telling you about the same. A key generation algorithm selects a key from the key space uniformly at random. Next is a signing algorithm. It efficiently returns a tag given the key and the message. Next is a verifying algorithm efficiently verifies the authenticity of the message given the key and the tag, and that is return accepted when the message and tag are not being tampered with or forged or otherwise return rejected. So, a secure message authentication code must resist attempts by an adversary to forge tags for arbitrary, select, or all messages, including under conditions of known or chosen plain text. It should be computationally infeasible to compute a valid tag of the given message without knowledge of the key. So even if for the worst case we assume the adversary knows the tag of any message but not the one in question. So formally, what is message authentication? It is the triple of efficient system is a triple of efficient algorithm, that is GSV, that is satisfying GSV as I told you earlier. Key generator G, it gives the key on input 1 raised to power n number of inputs will be there, where n is the security parameter, as is the signing output a tag t on the key k and the input string x. Next is v for verification, that is output accepted or rejected on inputs, that is the key k and the string x and the tag t. So it will be having a formula that I am going to discuss with you, and that is this, and that is you are supposed to follow the same. Wait, it is getting copied to the slide. Just wait. Till then, you can have a look at all the slides that have been discussed for the message authentication. What is message authentication? What is encryption? And what is non-repudiation? So just have a look at this. S and V must satisfy the following: P of R. Then there is a key that is being used, which is G is approaching K. It means G is deriving K. Just wait, I am telling you. So S and V must satisfy the following. What is S and what is V? S is signing authority, V is verifying authority. So what is S and V? P of R, which is having the square bracket K, G is generating K. G is key generator, which is using the key K by using applying it on the inputs, that is 1 raised to power n, where where we mean to say verifying outputs, which is consist of k, that is keys, x, that is input string, and again capital S, that is signing authority or signing output, which is again further having two key inputs, that is key and string, that is to be accepted, which is equal to 1, and 1 is having the value of 5 inputs, that is 5 time input is there. A MAC is unforgeable if for every efficient adversary A, the following condition is satisfied, that is P of R, again G is deriving K by using one n number of inputs, then X and T tag is used, and X string is used, and A is deriving that. A mean to say adversary is deriving that by using S. S is again signing outputs by using K key and one number of the inputs that are being fed, and comma x does not belong to a query that is having the adversary of s mean to say signing authority, which is having the value of k, and it is getting applied on the number of the inputs n. And similarly V is the verifying authority, where K key, comma, X inputs and T tags is equal to accepted and is less than equal to the number of the inputs that are being raised. So where a s raised to power k, where a s raised to power k is that a has access to the oracle sk and query a raised to power sk, where one of the n denotes the set of the queries on as made by the a. So which is known as n, and it clearly defined that we require that any adversary cannot directly query the string X on S, otherwise a valid tag can be easily obtained by that adversary. So this was about the mathematical description of this slide. You can take it snapshot because I am going to erase it, but just for your understanding. I am just telling you in brief about the message authentication code. I am going to discuss about the uh, step by step algorithm about the MAC code in detail by using hash function in the upcoming lecture. Just have a look at the all the slides that I have discussed so far. I am giving you the time of 1 to 2 minutes. Just have a look. Next is security, where various security measures that have been associated with MAC are, while MAC functions are similar to cryptographic hash functions. We have not studied hash functions till date, so we are going to study about the same in the upcoming lectures. While MAC functions are similar to cryptographic hash functions, they possess different security requirements. That is, to be considered secure, a MAC function must resist existential forgery under chosen plain text attacks. So this means that even if an attacker has an access to an oracle which possesses the secret key, oracle mean to say I am going to hack the database of a particular organization, and it is created in the oracle software. So which possess the secret key and generate MAC for messages of the attacker. Choosing the attacker cannot guess the MAC for other messages, that is, which were not used to query the oracle. So without infeasible amount of computation, we are going to, the attacker cannot guess the other messages. So next main point of concern is MAC differs from digital signature, as MAC values are both generated and verified using the same secret key. So this implies that the sender and the receiver of a message must agree on the same key before initiating communication, as in the case with symmetric encryption. So for the same reason, MAC do not provide the property of non-repudiation offered by the signatures, specifically in the case of a network-wide shared secret key. Actually, in MAC, it is concerned with authentication only, and I have already discussed about various public key cryptography algorithms, private key cryptography algorithms. In addition, I have discussed number theory, what are various substitution techniques, classical techniques that have been discussed so far. So the main point of concern in message authentication code is basically hashing, that I have not discussed. And second main point of concern is authenticity, how authenticity could be achieved. So in order to attain the authenticity, there is a full flash algorithm that is being there, and I will discuss that algorithm in the upcoming lecture. So I am just giving you the briefing about MAC today. So MAC differs from digital signature, as MAC values are both generated and verified using the same key. So this implies that sender and receiver of a message, they must agree on the same key before initiating the communication, because this is the case with the symmetric encryption as well. So you are supposed to remember the same. For the same reason, Mac do not provide the property of non-repudiation, because it was offered by the because it was offered by the signature specifically in case of the network wide shared secret key. So any user who can verify a MAC is also capable of generating MAC for other messages. So in contrast, a digital signature is generated using the private key of the key pair, which is public key cryptography. So since this private key is only accessible to its holder, so a digital signature proves that a document was signed by none other than the holder. So digital signature do offer non-repudiation. However, non-repudiation can be provided by system that securely bind key usage information to the MAC key. The same key is in the possession of two people, but one has a copy of the key that can be used for MAC generation, while the other has a copy of the key in a hardware security module that only permits MAC verification. So this is commonly done in finance industry. So next is how we implement Mac. If you are having any query about the security of the Mac, you can ask me. I am giving you the time of 1 minute. Just have a look at the slide. Next, I am going to discuss about the implementation of the Mac. Mac algorithms can be constructed from other cryptographic primitives like cryptography hash function or from block cipher algorithms. In order to understand the Mac, I think you are supposed to study about the two previous units that I have discussed with you, because that is the base of the network security. Without them, it could not be possible to implement the Mac, because you should know about what is block cipher, what is stream cipher, how what is encryption, what is decryption, how many types of algorithms that could be used to perform the encryption, and what type of algorithm could be used for this type of data, or what type of algorithm could be used for the certain type of the information that is being transmitted between two parties. So in addition, there could be a number theory that you are supposed to remember, and there are various substitution techniques that are being used for the cryptography. So in order to proceed with the Mac, you are supposed to study about the those two units in detail. I agree that I have not discussed about hash function and digital signature part in today's lecture, because this is the part of your fourth or fifth unit, I think. So when I will come to that point, I will discuss in detail about that. But now we are supposed to focus on the message authentication code. So just study what is the security implementation, or what are the implementation measures that are required for the Mac. So it can be constructed from cryptographic primitives like cryptographic hash function, or from the block cipher algorithms like GCM, PMAC. However, many of the fastest MAC algorithms, like MAC algorithms, you are going to discuss in the upcoming lecture, UMAC, VMAC, and PolyMac, are constructed based on the universal hashing. So, hashing is a technique that is being used for the message authentication. So, hashing is mainly used in selecting a universal hashing is to select a hash function at random from a family of hash functions with a certain mathematical property. Because if you are going to study network security and cryptography fundamentals, you are supposed to clear your maths concept, because you going to use about the various basic formulas like matrix calculation, In addition, there could be Fermat's theorem, Euler's torsion function that you have studied in the maths 12th standard. So you are supposed to brush up your math skills when you are studying about the network security, because it is the field that is concerned with the mathematical calculation of the messages. So the keyed hash functions such as SIP hash are also, by the definition of the MAC, they can be even faster than the universal hashing based MACs. So additionally, MAC algorithm can deliberately combine two or more cryptographic primitives so as to maintain protection, even if one of them is later found to be vulnerable. For example, in transport layer security, that is in TLS, that I am going to study in fifth unit, the input data is split in halves and data are each processed with a different hashing primitives SHA1, SHA2, and then XORed together to output the MAC. XORed gate we have already discussed in first or second unit. You can have a look at the previous lectures if you want to know about the detail of the XOR gate. So next is how we can implement the MAC, one-time MAC. So one-time MAC is what? It is based on the universal hashing, and in particular, pairwise independent hash function provide a secure message authentication code as long as the key is used at most one. At most one, you are supposed to look at the conditions while you are performing encryption and decryption. So this can be seen as the one-time pad for authentication. As you remember, if you remember, we have discussed one-time pad technique in second or third lecture. So today I am just giving you the information about MAC with the uh, need of the topics that we have already discussed in the first and second lecture, because first and second lecture topics are based off the MAC. So the simplest such pairwise independent hash function is defined by the random key, which is key is equal to the part of A and B. The inputs will be there, and the MAC tag for a message, capital M or small m, is computed as tag is equal to A multiplied by M plus B. So this will be the formula for the same, and we are supposed to calculate it with the help of the modulus of P, where P is prime number or P is prime, I can say. So more generally, K-independent hashing functions provide a secure message authentication code as long as the key is used less than K times for K-based independent hashing functions. So next is message authentication codes and data origin authentications have been also discussed in the framework of quantum cryptography. By contrast to other cryptographic tasks such as key distribution for a rather broad class of quantum max, it has been shown that quantum resources do not offer any advantage over unconditionally secure one-time classical max. So what are the various standards that define MAC algorithm? So various standards exist that define MAC algorithm. These includes, the first is FIPS PUBS 113, that is computer data authentication. Next is FIPS PUB 198 1, the keyed hash message authentication code. It is also called HMAC. Third is ISO/IEC. You can jot down the standards about the MAC. ISO IEC 97971 mechanism using the block cipher. Next is ISO IEC 97972 using the dedicated hash function. Next is ISO IEC 97973 mechanism using the universal hash function. Next is ISO IEC 29192 6 lightweight cryptography that is concerned with message authentication code. I am going to repeat about all the standards that I have dictated so far are FIPS PUB 113 that is concerned with computer data authentication. because it defines an algorithm based in the DES. Second is FIPS pub 198-1, that is HMAC, keyed hash message authentication code. Next is ISO IEC 9797-1, mechanism using a block cipher. Next is ISO IEC 97972, mechanism using a dedicated hash function. Next is ISO IEC 97973, mechanism using a universal hash function. Next is ISO IEC 291926, lightweight cryptography, that is concerned with message authentication code. So ISO IEC 97971 and ISO IEC 97972, these define generic models and algorithms that can be used with any block cipher or hash function and a variety of different parameters that could be defined. So these models and parameters allow more specific algorithms to be defined by nominating the parameters. For example, FIPS pub 113, the first one, algorithm is functionally equivalent to ISO IEC 97971 MAC algorithm 1 with padding method 1 and a block cipher algorithm of DES. So next I am going to share a slide with you. Just wait, I am showing you the actual representation of the MAC. Okay, just have a look at the slide. Because from that picture it is not clearly visible. This is the picture that is showing the clear details about the MAC. Just have a look. One is sender, one is receiver. Message is being sent, message is being received. But there is the key that is being used in both the cases, that is sender side and receiver side. Then after using the key, MAC algorithm will be used and MAC will be fed. Then that MAC will be generated from that MAC algorithm, and that MAC will be sent with the message to the receiver side. So the message will be received by the receiver. MAC will be given below. If the same MAC is found, then the message is authentic and integrity check is performed, else something is not right. So this is the main pictorial representation of the message authentication code. Just have a look because it is quite simple and understandable from this one. You can have a look at this. If you are having any query regarding same, you can ask me. I am giving you the time of 1 minute. Just have a look. So from this example, the sender of the message run it through a MAC algorithm to produce a MAC tag data. Obviously, the message and the MAC tag are then sent to the receiver. Yes, that I told you earlier. The receiver in turn runs the message portion of the transmission through the same MAC algorithm using the same key. Yes, and producing the second MAC data tag. Yes, the receiver then compares the first MAC tag received in the transmission to the second generated MAC tag. Two tags are being compared. If they are identical, then the receiver can safely assume that the message was not altered or tampered during transmission. However, to allow the receiver to be able to detect replay attack, replay attack, what are replay attack? I am going to discuss about the replay attack. So it is the form of network attack in which valid data transmission is maliciously or fraudulently repeated or delayed. Replay attack mean to say network attack. Network mean to say if two parties are communicating via some means, then this could be a attack that could take place into the picture at that time. So it is the form of network attack in which valid data transmission is maliciously or fraudulently repeated or delayed. So this is carried out either by the originator or by an adversary who intercepts the data and retransmit it. So the message itself must contain the data that assures that this same message can only be sent once. For example, timestamp, sequence number, or use of the one-time MAC. So otherwise, an attacker could, without even understanding its content, record this message and play it back at the later time, producing the same result as the original sender. So this was about the MAC algorithm that I have discussed in this picture. If you are having any query, let me know. So next is message authentication code. As shown, the Mac provides authentication. Yes, it provides authentication. Can also use encryption. Yes, it is using encryption for secret data because there are main points that are concerned with encryption. Generally uses separate key for each. It can compute Mac either before or after encryption and is generally regarded as better than before. Next, why use a Mac? Because sometimes only authentication is needed and sometimes need authentication to persist longer than the encryption, that is archival use. Next, note that a Mac is not a digital signature. Digital signature is different concept that I will discuss in upcoming lecture. So next is what are the properties of the Mac? What are the properties of the Mac? It is the cryptography checksum. That is the formula that is given here. Checksum C, K is the key, M is the message on which it is getting applied. Next condenses a variable length message M and using a secret key K to a fixed size authenticator. And is a many to one function, that is potentially many messages have same MAC, but finding these need to be very difficult. So this was all about Mac properties, how Mac could operate, what is the security issues that are related to the Mac, what is the implementation that is concerned with the Mac. Now if you are having any query, then do let me know. If you are having any query regarding MAC protocol, then let me know. I am giving you the time of 1 minute. Just have a look at all the slides that have been discussed. Next is I am going to give you an assignment for today's lecture. Just note it down. How Mac is different from the encryption techniques, how Mac is different from the encryption techniques that have been discussed so far. Because I think today is my 14th lecture, and I have discussed so many techniques in the previous 13 lectures, so many terms that are concerned with cryptography. So just tell me the difference and why we use Mac, why Mac is given high importance over those algorithms that have been discussed so far. So this is your assignment for today's lecture. I will discuss about that question in the next lecture. Why Mac is important, how it is different from the remaining encryption techniques that have been discussed so far. So this was all about my today's class. Next, you can follow a book that is available in the library, and it is book by William Stalling. Get it issued from the library and have a look at it. Next is MCQ, so that I can assess your understanding about today's lecture. 10 MCQs are given for your reference, and you are supposed to tick any one answer from four options, and you are supposed to submit me the answers today till 5 p.m. To my email account. You can send me the answers to my email account. So these are 10 questions. Just have a look at all the 10 questions. These are three questions. Next three questions are there. Next, 7, 8, 9. So this was all about today's class. Thank you. Have a nice day.